It's election night tonight. Will President Obama continue to be president?
Or will Mitt Romney be the new commander-in-chief? I'm Laura Ayala.
And I'm Alisha Alston. Welcome to the Election Night Countdown.
In the face of a close 2012 election, so many factors can shift momentum to any party. Seeing that this election could go down to the final minute of vote counting, there's one factor that many people aren't taking notice of. WNCP reporter Jordan Sawyers reminds us of a forgotten party that could help decide the fate of both major party candidates.
As you go to the polls and cast your ballots this year, you'll see two names you recognize: Barack Obama of the Democratic Party and Mitt Romney of the Republican Party. What about the other candidates in the race for the 2012 decision? Yes, I'm talking about the third-party candidate factor. With the lack of television exposure and funding, these parties are small fish in a big pond. However, Gary Johnson of the Libertarian Party is quite popular. In fact, the former governor of New Mexico is reported to be on 48 ballots, while third-party candidate Virgil Goode of the Constitution Party will show up on the ballot in 25 states. Other third-party candidate Jill Stein is said to be less of a factor this year based on the numbers. Oh, the fact that she was arrested while trying to force her way into one of the presidential debates probably doesn't help much. However, if you ask students at UNC Pembroke anything about third-party candidates, you'll probably get this reaction.
I was just like, who are these guys?
No, I don't know who they are.
I can't say that I have any prior familiarity towards them.
No, I've never heard of them.
I haven't heard anything.
Well, let me educate you a bit. Battleground states will be a key in the success of any candidate in this year's election. Goode could pose a potential threat to Romney in Virginia based on his illegal immigration plan. On the other hand, Johnson is viewed as a potential threat to both candidates. His support of gay marriage, eased immigration, and scaling back of governmental powers could make him a nightmare and could lead him to snagging key votes in the Tar Heel state. UNCP Associate Professor for Political Science Dr. Emily Neff-Sherham explains that third-party candidates are not a factor in this year's election because they haven't set themselves apart from the competition.
This election season, I do not foresee any real impact of third-party candidates on this electoral cycle. The biggest reason why that is because typically third-party candidates have their hugest surge of success when there is an issue that is not being dealt with by the candidates of the Republican and Democratic Party, but are of core importance to the people.
Nonetheless, though, these underdog candidates are competing for America's vote in an attempt to defy all odds and step foot in the Oval Office. These candidates know that, like the presidential race in 2000, obtaining the smallest margin of victory is going to be a challenge. Reporting for election night coverage, I'm Jordan Sawyers.
The Election Board wants to make sure all U.S. citizens have a chance to vote, even if you are out of state or serving in the military. Absentee ballots makes this process possible. WNCP reporter Leanne Liu brings us the scoop.
Voters are eligible to vote by absentee ballot for the general election if they are out of state or serving in the military. Any registered North Carolina voter can request an absentee ballot by mail. For out-of-state students, they can choose whether to register and vote for North Carolina or vote for their home state by mail. But some out-of-state students still feel confused about their first attempt to vote. UNCP student Jasmine Edwards, who comes from Virginia, says she votes it at home.
Being that I am an out-of-state student,
Having the absentee ballot sent from where I live, Virginia, to Pembroke would have been time consuming. Plus, I'm a first-time voter, so it would have been confusing once I got the ballot, how to fill it out, and then getting a ride to go vote.
People serving in the military who are away from their permanent home on election day have special voting rights and ways to vote. They can either request a mail-in absentee ballot or apply to vote through special programs for military voters. Camilla Mountain is an UNCP student who has military experience.
We had an absentee ballot where each person they could fill out a federal card, and normally you could mail them off, but we actually had a voting assistant officer that would collect them from all the soldiers. So let's say I'm from Louisiana originally, but I reside in North Carolina. So you can fill out the absentee ballot for your state. So it didn't matter, where you came from in the United States.
The vote must be received by the appropriate county board of elections no later than 5 p.m. on the last Tuesday for WNCP and Liu.
The candidate race for the 2012 election has been very close. In actuality, most students in Robeson County residents are unaware of just how close the race in their own backyard has been. CNT correspondent Alisha Alston has more on the story.
From county commissioner to lieutenant governor to district court judge, some Robeson County residents are finding out that they're not just voting in a national election. Local candidates running for office, such as Dennis Harrell, recently spoke on the importance of the public being informed about the other names on the ballot. Harrell said that it's the duty of the local citizens to be aware of the options that can have a lasting effect on the community.
Well, we need to need to have information so we can make accurate decisions, because we make our choices, then our choices have a way of making us in our county. And so it's important that we have the information that is necessary to make wise and good decisions that will affect us and future generations.
Local and state candidates running for office have been overlooked and ignored in this year's election as the race for the next president of the United States has captured the public's attention. Yet, as Judge Judith Daniels explains, it's the officials running for local office that affect the daily lives of Robeson County citizens.
Surely the presidential race is important and all of those national and state races, but in terms of a day-to-day basis, I and other judges are sitting and making decision after decision after decision that are impacting the lives of individuals in our community.
And it's the community that's responsible for electing worthy and competent officials to help improve the conditions of Robeson County. As District Court Judge candidate Rodney Oxendine put it, the only way to ensure this community's future success is to get out to the polls.
I would just encourage everyone to get out and vote. Exercise your rights. It's a privilege.
With Election 2012 News, I'm Alisha Alston. Earlier this year, Robeson County elections made news when some of their laptops were stolen. Those laptops contain voter information from the May election. Chris Peterkin has more on this story.
Across the United States, the election season is in full effect as people from all walks of life come together to participate their right to register and vote. For Robeson County this election season, they have really been on the horn as far as protecting the rights of voters in Robeson County. On September 4th, the Robeson County Board of Elections experienced the theft of 5 laptops that were used to register voters. Each laptop was priced at about $1,000 apiece. According to the Robesonian newspaper, the incident occurred right around the one-stop vote period back in May. According to the Fayetteville Observer newspaper, there was some information of already registered voters contained on the laptops that belong to the 71,000 registered voters of Robeson County. The Board of Elections contacted the local police as well as the North Carolina State Board of Elections. The Robeson County Board of Elections Director Doc Locklear, who is pictured here on the far left, gave his comments on the matter.
On about the 4th of September, we had some updates we had to do to our laptop computers, and the staff member here that does the updates went into the storage area where they were stored to do those updates and found those computers missing. We don't know exactly when they were removed. We sort of have a time frame in mind as to when they were removed. But immediately upon discovering that, what we did, we contacted the local police department, and we also notified the State Board of Elections.
Along with the new laptops with the special encryption codes, the Board of Elections mailed out letters that were dated for September 12th to the residents of Robeson County, warning them of the situation and that if they feel their personal information may be harmed, that they should contact their tax service providers and that they should consider changing their information so they could have a chance of saving their identities from possible tax fraud. Locklear went on to explain that the laptops are kept in a special safe and that only 2 authorized personnel within the Board of Elections have proper combinations to enter the safe.
And there's only 2 people, one person in this office and one in the administration that knows the combination to that safe.
For WNCP-TV, I'm Chris Peterkin.
Not everyone is feeling the excitement of this year's elections, and some decided not to vote at all. CNT reporter Joshua Long caught up with some apathetic voters. Women's issues have taken a major spotlight in presidential.
Some UNCP students are feeling apathetic towards this year's election. I asked some students around campus if they were going to put any research into their decision for presidential candidate.
I mean, I only voted for the fact that it was my parents' thing, and I guess they're more into it than I am. I don't even watch the news half the time.
Students feel their vote really isn't holding weight.
I think that the American people should carry a little more weight in their vote and a little less on the Electoral College. I mean, I don't think our vote counts for enough of what it should. I feel like our vote's more just saying that, hey, we're here.
One student had an idea of how we can make students less apathetic towards future elections.
I think the old generation needs to start stepping down and allow the new generation to stand up. I mean, all this nonsense about racism and all this stuff, it's kind of old now. It's 2012. I think we're a couple hundred years, down the road. I think we need to, cut this childish stuff out.
Some of the issues that have been on everyone's mind this election includes healthcare, women's rights, and the economy. These issues are of great concern to most people who are voting. Most. With WNCP-TV, this is Joshua Long.
This election has brought a lot of debate over women's reproductive rights. So, how do women feel about these issues when deciding who to elect this year? Here's Laura Ayala with the story.
Women's issues have taken a major spotlight in presidential campaigns this year, causing each party to try and charm undecided women. Issues such as abortion and birth control are being presented as the female voters' primary concerns. But are reproductive rights at the forefront of these women's minds? Political science professor Emily Neff-Sharam says no.
Most polling shows that those questions have not really captured the hearts and minds, that the economy still remains a central issue, even for women who are very liberal, who may be most inclined to be most worried, right, if those reproductive rights come under fire.
And it seems other women might agree. Mother of 2 daughters, Michelle Like, feels the focus of our vote should be the economy. Just this year, Michelle found herself being classified as lower middle class after 20 years in a higher tax bracket.
It's very, very scary for all of us out there. Not us lower middle class, even the middle class, period.
Michelle's youngest daughter, Alisha, shares her mother's concerns. While still too young to vote, Alisha hopes that those who do vote this election will consider the issues she feels are most important.
Not to be selfish, but my future. And when I say my future, I don't mean me personally. I mean me as in my peers, people my age, the upcoming future. What kind of America are we going to live in?
For WNCP-TV, I'm Laura Ayala.